What's up, my cronies, and welcome back to Let's Play Gunman's Proof. This is the 5th episode of the Let's Play, as you can probably see from the title of the video, in which we'll be taking on the 4th dungeon of the game, the Ghost Town. But first off, just a couple side things. Well, first of all, we're going to go back and talk with Garrow and... I believe it's just Garrow, yeah. Because Zero is us, and Roboton is just out wherever. So anyway, he gives us a little bit of information about the ghost town. Says that, well, the boss is a ghost. And then if you just choose to chat with him, he just tells you that he can't fix the ship. Even though it's his fault it crashed in the first place. So the only other thing to do at this area at this time is to get the flamethrower, which I unlocked after beating the last dungeon, which is probably, like I said in earlier videos, it's probably tied with the machine gun for my second favorite gun. I like that you can shoot while moving, and it's very, very strong. However, it eats up ammo really fast. Anyway, I just came around here to get 200 bucks, which you can always just wait and get after you gain the ability to swim. And actually, I found a carrot at just the right time, which is very unusual for this game, because usually you either don't want it or really can't take it because you're near an obstacle that you need to be walking around to solve. Anyway, I just took the little side trip to get the 200 bucks. Not really helpful in the long run, but why not? Then also, before moving on, we are going to head out the west exit to gain another ability from an NPC. And like I said in the last video, I really should have done it then, but I either forgot about it when I was recording or didn't know about it. Maybe that was the case. What's funny is I kind of trekked to the end of the desert but just didn't go get it anyway. But what you do is you go to the desert and you go to the far eastern side. Man, those cactuses have a lot of health. They do drop corn, which heals you a little bit more than apples, though I didn't really need any healing or anything. And for some reason I just decided to expend the rest of my ammo. Anyway, you come to the edge of the desert and continue going north to find this house right here, in which a man will give you a skill entitled I think it's called the Crazy Shot. And I don't know what it was about this, but I either couldn't get it to work or it's incredibly useless and just makes you shoot a little faster. I don't know. But it just said to mash on the A button, which I kind of did, and that was the result. So I never used it for the rest of the game, mainly because I really couldn't, or I had a better weapon anyway. So anyway, you can take a shortcut back so you don't have to go all the way back through the desert, and you're ready to move on. Except first I decided to go and talk to this NPC over here in this house, which I really regret not doing it earlier in the game, because he said something really funny at the very beginning. Now he just says something along the lines of, I got all my horses back from I got all my horses saddled up in the village and I'm about to get out of here. At the beginning of the game he says something like, I'm tired of these darn demi-seeds all causing trouble and writing graffiti on my horses' butts. It just kind of caught me off guard and I thought it was pretty funny. So we'll pick up another flamethrower and head on. Now at the end of the last video, when I talked to the sheriff to get my reward for the boss of the 3rd dungeon, he said there's a ghost town to the northeast of the town. It's kind of confused me because you have to actually go out the west exit of town and then proceed northeast from there. And before I was like, there's got to be something I can do, because I went east out of the town and couldn't get there. Anyway, I've come to the outskirts of the ghost town where you saw the blocking ghost, which goes away if we have the crucifix, which you buy from the Chinese merchant, if you didn't watch my last video. And we now come across some spooky, scary skeletons that don't really die. They just kind of fall into a pile of bones and then get back up. Kind of like dry bones from Mario, except they have guns, which is kind of terrifying. But either way, we've come to the ghost town now. But first of all, I guess this is the mayor or something of Ghost Town. who kind of gives us a warning and tells us if we die, then we're dead, and they'll take our skull and whatever. No big deal, because we're just going to lay waste to everything in here anyway. So anyway, he goes away, and now we enter my favorite dungeon of the game. The next dungeon's pretty cool too, but what I like about this dungeon is where most dungeons you kind of, see, it still says I'm out in the world map, but the dungeon itself are these houses and the basements that are underneath, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, some of them are linked up, and it is kind of like an actual dungeon once you go to the basement level. But I thought it was really cool to have the whole dungeon just be an actual ghost town, whereas most dungeons take place inside of caves or in a tower or something like that. This one's just the actual town, which I thought was pretty cool. The only downside to the dungeon is, well, things like that, where the problem that I talked about in the last video, where you'll start walking into a room before the enemies kind of come in, and you'll take a hit or something. These little flaming skulls are really annoying. As far as I can tell, there's no real way to kill them. I almost got hit there again. So just avoid those flaming skulls. Anyway, we've come to another actual upgrade, which is a punch upgrade. So our punches, I guess, will be a little bit stronger, but that's not too big of a deal because that's hardly used anyway. But good to have anyway. Like I was saying, the only downside to this dungeon is it can be pretty easy to get lost. Like, I had done this before, obviously, before recording it, just so I would know where to go, but I kind of just wandered around aimlessly until I kind of figured out where to go. But I guess if you do what I do in this video, you'll be fine. We've already found the punching upgrade, so the only thing that's left to get are any treasures we might want, which once again are useless, and obviously to get to the boss. I think I get most of the treasure in this dungeon. I mean, this one was obviously easy to get because it was just right inside one of the houses. But other than that, alright, we'll come back here later. We'll be on the other side of the counter, which I don't know why we can't just jump it now. But that's right on the way to the boss. So now we need to go to, I believe it's the house right below me, or, oh no, it's that one. I guess the top middle, because I think there's 2 rows of 3. So in the top middle, go left. Watch out for the spooky, scary skeletons. And go down to the basement there. I think this actually leads to a little bit more treasure first. Yeah, this is if you want treasure. The way I went at the very beginning to get the punch upgrade, if you basically go that way, but at the fork, go up instead of down. That'll take you closer to the boss. So we'll go there, but I just figure I'd tell you right now. This dungeon kind of, I mean, this room especially, kind of reminds me a little bit of the Thief City? Thieves Town? Something like that, from Link to the Past. A lot of multi-level floors going on. And enemies that you generally don't really see at any other place in the game. Yeah, here we go. Here's the pathway I was talking about earlier. I don't know why this dungeon made me think of that, because it's really not all that similar. I guess it was close enough in my head to make a connection. And I guess I am kind of close to the boss, so I took the bazooka, because obviously that should be our weapon of choice. And I completely missed that ghost. At least he dropped a refill for me. How nice of him. Room full of flaming skulls, or whatever those are. Definitely want to avoid them. Also, I like the music in this dungeon. It sounds legitimately pretty spooky. It's really good dungeon music. It sounds like an actual dungeon. Which is nice. Here's that place I was talking about earlier as well, behind the counter. We just go up the other stairwell, and we are close to the boss, I believe. I actually used some punches here in hopes of, I guess, health pickups, where I found one right there. And, oh, found another one from punching him. Only using 1 bazooka round. Fantastic. Now here's where the boss is, generally. It's a house kind of to the north of the village with a locked gate in front of it. Once we beat the boss, the gate will be unlocked, so we don't have to go all the way back through the dungeon. We can just kind of walk out the town. Be careful of this room with the bats and all the spikes. I found it rather difficult to dodge up here. Well, I guess I could have dodged, but I tried punching, which is probably foolish of me. And in just a few rooms, we will be at the boss. I guess a few more rooms than I thought. Ah, here we go. As you can see, he has a ghosty skull-looking thing. This is Ghost Suzuki. The boss. He kind of looks like he's an Irish ghost. And since he's a ghost, he has the classic hissing going on when he says his S's. So what he does is this is kind of an annoying part of the fight right here. He spawns 4 ghosts that when you shoot them, they don't go away, but they turn into little flames that won't hurt you if you touch them, but they just kind of float around the room aimlessly, and this guy just kind of goes in a circle. You just really have to shoot him until this happens. The ghosts he spawns go away, and he calls up some kind of weapon store. Yes, hello, hello, hello. I guess it's called one parts shoot, or one parts shot or something. Kind of a weird name. Maybe that was just some kind of weird translation thing. But he orders this, I guess, wooden barrel Indian robot thing. Be careful for these. You'll get frozen by the ice shots if you get hit by them. Then also, of course, the bombs will probably do a lot of damage. I can throw one of my own at him. And the fight's over. Yeah. So not too long of a fight. The only really annoying part is that first part. But once again, another fight that's made really easy by having the bazooka. And look, I still have some rounds left over. And now he tells us that I guess we're going to see him again. Which is kind of cool. Usually in games like this, when you kill a boss, they're gone and dead forever unless... Well, I guess sometimes you fight them more than once. But typically, it's just a one-time fight. So I guess we'll look forward to seeing Ghost Suzuki again. Anyway, we've picked up our health upgrade and opened the chest for the Demi-Seed Crest. And we're done with Dungeon 4, and thus halfway through this game. Because there's 8 dungeons in all. 7 main dungeons, and then the final dungeon with Demi in it. Which is more of a boss rush than anything. Oh, I guess I only found 2 of the treasures. There were probably 2 more. I didn't really feel like wasting too much time wandering around this level. So I guess I just kind of did it fast. I think from here on out I get every treasure for the rest of the game, I want to say. Anyway, now that gate is opened, and we can leave. Or walk into some ghosts and get shot by skeletons. Okay, now before going back into town, I think I explore a little bit. Places that will be coming later. And I kind of take one look at the enemies and just kind of get out of there. Oh, and we're back down to our main revolver. Some more ghosts and more easy enemies. I guess I just kind of checked my map to see where I was. There's actually a health power-up somewhere around here that I could get right here, but I don't think I get it until the last or the second to last episode. Yeah, I kind of took one look at those metal frame guys and just kind of got out of there. But I did get a 1-up right here, which made the exploring worth it, I guess. Even though lives really aren't an issue. So now all that's left to do, of course, is to go back to town, collect our reward, talk to Dad, and generally see what's going on in town. And we'll also kind of notice that some of the enemies are a bit stronger than they used to be. Where there used to be ant ninjas here, now there are chameleons which turn invisible. And instead of the bluish purple looking dudes, they're now some of the white dudes we saw in, I think, the Red Canyon when I went the wrong way. I get my flamethrower back. I kind of like to have a flamethrower when I'm out on the map, but when I'm about to go to a boss, I like to have the bazooka. So anyway, just a few more things to do around here. First thing being going to see the sheriff, like I said, or actually talking to our little girlfriend, who actually kind of notices that we're acting a little different, because we're kind of possessed by a space alien. Hey, at least he's not burrowing through our ear and into our brain, like in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So now we come to another classic Western trope, the abandoned mine. And so he tells us we're going to have to swim. And obviously we cannot. Fortunately, that's where the Chinese merchant comes in, who should have something for us. Can you guess what it is? If you guessed something to let us swim, you guessed right. He gives us a snorkel set, or an underwater set, rather. That's an expensive snorkel. $500 just for goggles and little wee bendy tube. And swimming is really annoying in this game, but I'll explain that a little more next time. Next up, we have to go to the gun store to learn how to use a new weapon. Unfortunately, it's not an actual gun weapon. It's a punch upgrade, which I think is a drill. Yeah, the drill arm. The punch upgrades really aren't useful compared to the gun upgrades, except for the shotgun, I guess. The drill is much better than the final one we get, but really I won't use it all too much. Except I think I use it a couple times against one boss, just because the boss really requires that much firepower against it. I think it's actually the next boss. Anyway, things are coming to a close, and all that's left to do is to talk to my parents, my dad, who loves me the more bosses I kill and the more money I tend to make, and my mother, who just is concerned about my safety. But we're done here today. So I'd like to ask you to come back in a couple days. I'll be uploading the next episode, where we'll be taking on the Abandoned Mine, Level 5. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.